Yes. Um, Once again, welcome to Come Well into another episode, another doorway, another portal, entitled "Am I as I am, as you are?" Today we're going to touch upon a part two to what is jealousy. The video prior to this one, which is what I touched upon. What is jealousy? Today's going to be a part two version to what is jealousy. To touch upon a few more different points and aspects and avenues and perceptions of ways of looking at or recognizing um, what is the principle of what we know and what we experience and what we feel as jealousy. Um, if you're not familiar with this video cast, we go line for line, and as I take it line for line, within each line that I would say, I would receive something, channel something, and then share what I'm channeling with you as I open up these line for line that I, touch upon as I go along. Um, okay, so I guess um, let's get into it. Okay, the first line and on doorway is words like my and mine or mines are potentially possessive and territorial. Be aware of what your mouth speaks or what your mouth is speaking or what your mouth is saying because your ears are listening. Your words and agreement with the words shift your perception and shift your reality. Words have definitions and have taken on their own unique definitions aside from the dictionary definitions. According to how people speak them and where emotionally they're speaking of it from or speaking it from. Because that in itself changes the whole mentality, emotion, and vibration of the word itself when spoken or pronounced and heard by the one speaking and the one being spoken to or spoken towards. Um, like I said, words like my and mine or minds, we kind of um created these relationships with these words that we speak. And these words that we speak have basically very, like I said, possessive and territorial. Um, and we kind of developed this kind of mentality deep within our subconscious mind as a child or as children. We had toys and we said, that's mine. Or that's my toy. Or give me, that's mine. So if we said that as a child and we spoke in these words as children, all of us spoke these words as children, it kind of creates a gimme, that's mine mentality in your today time. Even as an adult or as a person who is a grown up, you still have these subconscious embedded words that deeply tie you to something ignorant within you, no matter how aware or conscious that you may be. As you speak these words, when you speak these words, you're actually once again creating a certain kind of glue or a bond to someone or something when you say my, mine, and mines. That's my wife. Or that's my man. That's my partner. Or she's mine. He's mine. All that is mine's. That's mine's. That's me. These things create a certain kind of bond or bondage or bonding in a certain way. And it's like tentacles going out and grabbing and holding, trying to bring it back to itself. Um, and that in itself is a very selfish mechanism, a selfish way of operating and functioning as a human being, and it's really just basically ego. So be aware when you speak these words like my, mine, and mines, because Even if you're playing around, um, whether you're playing around or not, you're speaking these words and your ears are listening. The mouth is speaking it, and the ears are listening to what the mouth is speaking. And when the ears receive what the mouth is speaking, it goes and falls into the subconscious mind. So this is why the whole point is to remain aware of what you speak and how you're speaking it and where you're speaking of it or speaking it from within you. Because it's gonna bring that pullback. No matter how aware conscious that you are, is going to open up or activate something inside you subconsciously as a child. And that is a certain kind of ignorance within you. Before you became conscious, before you grew up or got older, became more conscious and aware of this reality around you. Because children and babies, if I always tell people, you want to know what ego looks like at its most purest state, what ego really looks like, and identify at its most purest state of existence? And they say, where? I say, look at a baby. Look at a child. Look at an infant. They're crying for food, crying for milk, crying to be changed. And you give them something, they have it, they get in their grasp, in their palms, in their hands, and they don't want to give it back. This comes with children playing with toys, a brother playing with a sister with their toys, a sister playing with a brother with their toys as children. And they're very grabby and grippy and grasping everything and bringing it back to themselves and saying, oh, this is mine, oh, this is mine. And this is ego at its most finest point of existence. So we learned these words, we repeated these words, we said these words consciously and unconsciously, but most importantly, unconsciously. And unconsciously, it over time and development and experience, it became a subconscious habit and a subconscious routine. It became embedded within the subconscious mind. And those things that become embedded within the subconscious mind kind of disguise itself and hide itself from the conscious mind. So we may be having a conscious experience and a conscious interaction within the moment, but I may do something or somebody may do something in that conscious moment that is a reaction of their subconscious program. So once again, like I said, this is just something to be aware about. Um, recognize when you're coming out of character, when you may be playing with the ego or in your spiritual nature. And this is all about a balance. The ego ain't bad, the spirit ain't bad. The ego ain't good, the spirit ain't good. It's just about a balance of when to play with the ego, when to play with the spirit, and vice versa. And, it's just a tightrope. You're walking this tightrope, playing with these two different dimensions, these two different ways of beings and doings. And you're walking this path that we call LIFE. Okay? So something to keep in mind and keep in heart as you go along. The next line in our doorway is, to be jealous is a kind of glue or gluing. A kind of glue or gluing to, or having another glue to you or yourself. You're trying to keep yourself stuck to somebody and or something, or trying to stick somebody or something to you. It's an attachment or an attaching, a self-bondage you've created within your imagination that stem from a deep, subconsciously hidden need and want. So, jealousy is also a certain kind of glue or a certain kind of gluing to, um, or having another glue to yourself, trying to have another glue to yourself somewhere in some form. Yeah, keeping yourself stuck to somebody or something, or trying to stick somebody or something to you. Once again, it's just an attachment or an attaching mechanism. A very selfish attachment or a very selfish attaching action. A self-bondage you created within your imagination that stems from a deep, subconsciously hidden need and want. And that deep subconscious hidden need and want is once again derives from your childhood. That's mine. I want that. I want that. I want that. And as a child, you were doing this, whether it was food, whether it was toys, whether it was mommy, whether it was a family member, whoever it was. We think that something is in our hands. As soon as it's placed in our hands, we think that it's ours. We think that it's mine. And you shouldn't be able to take this from my hands because you know why? Because it's in my hands and it's mine. It was given to me. And this is ego at its most purest state, which is a child. So if you feel like you need or want somebody, just be aware when you feel like you need and want something. Need and want is also another video I'm going to touch upon with the principles of what is need and what is want. It's going to be in one video. And I'm going to touch upon the principles of what is need and what is want. What is what we call need and what is what we call want, and what is need and want derived from, or descend from, or protrude from. And this is always going back, unlayering back to the true core nature, true core center and source of where you really function and operate from, which is once again the subconscious mind. So jealousy, of course, is not about the person. It's about something within you that it's that deep subconscious created hidden need and want that is acting out in certain ways, amongst people, with people, in the environment. And this is something that you have to address and confront within yourself, and you eventually going to have to neutralize this energy, to become a mutual state of centeredness within yourself. Okay. But yeah, it's a certain kind of glue, because if you're jealous of somebody or jealous of something, of your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your man or your woman or your husband or your wife, your significant other, you don't want her going out dressed a certain way or with certain people. You don't want him going out dressed a certain way or with certain people, or talking to this person, talking to that person. It's a very deep hidden thing within you that you have to address and confront, because it's not the person. It's never the person. It's something deep within you that you have to face, address and confront, and neutralize, most importantly, to come to that clear state of awareness and let things go. Don't let things, or let things be. There's no need to let things go. There's no need to bring things to you. Just let things be as they are. Okay. We'll go a little bit more into that lines, very few lines here. Touch upon it though. The next line at no doorway is, it is based on territory or being territorial, and possession or possessiveness. So territory or territorial is male. Possession or possessiveness or possessive nature is female. When you were a baby or child, everything that was given to you, like toys, which is what I said before, you became very territorial and possessive over it and about it when it was given to you. See, as a man, you're going to receive woman. As a woman, you're going to receive man. And receiving is also a certain way of looking at or perceiving something as something being given to you from somewhere, from some source, some anonymous source, some anonymity, somewhere that was given to you, but you received it. So when you receive it in a spiritual light, in a spiritual understanding, to receive and for something to be given to you is a thin line in between that. So when you receive it spiritually, consciously in awareness, your ego is saying that was given to me. And then your subconscious mind activates if your awareness isn't present. And then you become jealous. You see, so you become territorial, or you say, this is my territory, this is my property. Um, and once again, you become more of ego rather than being on the spiritual path and understanding your spiritual nature, true spiritual nature, primal nature, which is spirituality. So at the same time you received something in your subconscious mind that you created and developed as a child is saying, this was given to me. Not you consciously in the moment, in the present, aware, but your subconscious mind will take it and say, this was given to me. This is mine. Your spiritual sense is saying, I received this. I received her. I received him. I received them. And as you receive, there's a thin line. It's a crossover into the subconscious mind was saying, this was given to me. Somebody gave this to me. I was given her. I was given him. This is mine. She's mine. He's mine. And once again, like I said, it makes that crossover. And it becomes something which is, you're just enjoying the experience, and now you're trying to possess the experience. You're trying to make the experience your territory or your property. And this is where you get lost from the mind inside the brain. Get lost in the maze of the brain. So once again, it's something to remain aware of, to remain conscious of, as it plays out, as it's playing out, as it shows itself, as it occurs, as it happens, when it happens, and when it hits. And when it hits, something should wake up. A beacon of awareness should go off in your mind. Say, wait, I'm just enjoying this experience, but now I'm starting to feel like I don't want her to wear this. I don't want her to go there. Who's she talking to? Why is she wearing that? Where is she going? These little things is basically just an implication of the subconscious mind reaching out its tentacles to grab that and pull that back in and try to hold it to its possession and make that which is a spiritual nature, a physical thing and a physical possession to itself. And this is, become jealous and a whole bunch of other things, insecurities and things like that just start unfolding within you. And as these things get more action in your awareness in your present moment, the more your awareness and your consciousness becomes more dull and more dark. It becomes more hidden and more in the back, in the back burner rather than the forefront of your attention. This reality. So you want to always keep your awareness in the forefront. Always keep it here. But as soon as this is gone, your awareness becomes more dull, and then your ignorance becomes more of a forefront, and then you become more egotistical. You know what I'm saying? So live more egoism, or become more egoistic. Okay. The next line in our doorway is, when it comes to understanding the principle of a situation, it's never about the person. It's about the action. It's about the thing, the principle. The person in front of you is a distraction and or interference to keep you from going inside yourself if you aren't aware. But if you are aware, then you immediately recognize that they're here to direct you or redirect you inward. Okay? They're also something representing the principle of attention and redirecting attention to become aware of self. It's meant to keep you outside yourself without awareness. If you have no awareness, then it's meant to keep you outside yourself. This person in front of you is meant to keep you outside yourself because you lack awareness. Also controlling discipline. You lack control of discipline. It's meant to keep you outside yourself without awareness. But if you have awareness, it's meant to pull you inward to yourself. You have to find them. This is your mission. You have to find them within yourself. Seek the lesson that they're teaching you and find the teacher or teaching within you. Seek the lesson that he or she is teaching you and find that teaching and teacher within you. So it's once again, a person can be a distraction in a certain way that can keep you outside yourself if you are unaware. If you fall to the pits of jealousy and envy and things of that nature, what they call the seven deadly sins, um, you will become deeper and deeper and deeper and deeply anchored in this third dimension or third density, which in turn makes it more of a challenge to come back out of that hole which you have dug for yourself. And deeper just means depth. Depth is dimension. So when you become inside of a dimension, it's just that much more challenging. I don't want to say difficult or easy, or it's just that much more challenging to find your way back out of it. This reality that we are in right now, that I'm in, this reality has a ceiling, it has a floor, it has walls. This is a dimension because this is a certain kind of depth which I fell into. I fell into this reality. So this is a certain kind of depth. This skin suit means that the spirit has fell into the body. This body itself is a dimension. Dimension means depth. So when you fall deep into something, whether it's what you call LOVE or you call feeling or emotion, you're falling deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into that realm, and that realm now becomes a dimension, and that becomes your reality, and that can also shift or change or alter your perception, and you become fixed in that reality. And that reality may not have ever been real to begin with. But since you give it and keep on continuously and consistently giving it your attention and giving it your feeling and your emotion and your mind and your thought, you are giving life to it. And as you're giving life to this jealousy or this deep dimension of envy or hate or whatever it may be, you're losing your own life and you're giving it life. As you're giving it life, you're losing your own life. Or you're losing your own liveliness. You're keeping it live. And as you're keeping it live, you're losing or depleting your liveliness, which is why you become more stuck and more fixed in the past. Well, remember when we used to do this? Remember when we used to do that? I remember when we used to do this for me. I remember we used to do that for me. Why we're not doing that? Why you not talking? Why you not? No, why we're not interacting or talking to each other the way we used to? You become more fixed in the past because you're no longer being in the present moment because you have got tricked and fixed into this jealousy, this ego state of living, of way of being and doing, most importantly, not being. Being is spiritual. Doing is more of human nature, of humanity, of the physical experience rather than the spiritual existence. Okay? This is once again something to keep in mind and keep in heart. Keep my as you know. Okay? So whatever they're teaching you, since they actually exist within you, it's your responsibility and your duty to find that person, he or she, within yourself, within your he and she. Because every man has estrogen and every woman has testosterone. So you have a he and she within every individual. Find that he or she which appears to be on the outside in front of you, which every person is not really there. They're actually something within you. Find what she's or he is teaching you within yourself. Find that teaching and that teacher within you and become humble to it. You always want to neutralize yourself, neutralize the energy to find that mutual state and center of balance within you and within your sanity. Okay? It's the whole point. Now, what do you mean that she's inside of me? You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about that he's inside of me? Doesn't mean how is he inside of me? And I say, well, does your mate ever make you mad or happy? Do they ever make you feel anything? Do you ever display any kind of emotion towards them? because of any situation that may occur, may unfold, whatever it may be. Do you show them emotion? Do they stir up a feeling within you? Do they make you mad? Do they make you happy? Do they keep you high? Do they keep you low? Whatever it may be, and everybody, both male and female, always say, yeah. Well, that means that they exist within you because they can affect something within you. They're not on the outside. These beings or these encounters that we come across or we encounter, these acquaintances that we encounter with these individuals are actually something within ourselves because it stirs up something within ourselves. If you're on the outside, how can you affect something which is inside of me unless you actually exist inside of me and I'm thinking that you're outside of me. This is once again why I say if you're jealous of her, you're jealous of him, these are latent, dormant, hidden, silent energies within you that appear as something physical in front of you to teach you something within you because they're actually within you. So there's no need to be jealous of anybody outside of you. It's idiotic. It doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. When you become aware, and if you have control and discipline to apply the principle of control and apply the principle of discipline to actually create a certain kind of centered state of balance within you because you actually want to be clear-minded and sane as possible for as long as possible. I mean, any person with common sense wants that. It's not something that needs to be questioned or debated about. Who doesn't want to be clear-minded and sane and balanced at all times, regardless of whether they're going through chaos or whether they're going through something, or whatever it may be. I mean, who doesn't want to be in this state of mind at all times for as long as possible in any atmosphere or environment around anyone or anything? This is not something to be questioned. This is just what it is. See? Okay. Okay. The next line is jealousy is seeing someone and or something as value or of more value and more importance than you. Outside participation or outward participating towards potential insanity, rather than inside involvement towards your sanity, clarity, and stability. You interact with the outside, the person or the thing, in order to activate that which is inside. So you interact with the outside in order to activate that which is inside, which is once again what I was just talking about prior to this line right here. Recognition, realization, awakening, awareness, principle. This is principle. Recognition, realization, awakening, awareness. These are principles that you have to activate within you. And this happens by not becoming so personal or personalizing your physical experience so much. Yeah, it's a personal thing and we go through personal things and here and there, but at the same time, when this becomes too personal, the more it becomes personal, the more a glue is creating. A gluing effect is taking place in some way, in some form. With her, with him, with your wife, with your husband, with your significant other, ultimately. And anybody who is emotionally close to you or who you became emotionally close to, mentally and emotionally close to, is the homework that you have to work on. Because that just means more potential for insanity and imbalance. And that in itself will produce an ailment or sickness or unease within your system in some way, in some form. It's just a thrown off vibration from the vibration which is taking place prior to that imbalance, prior to that mind state or way of thinking or way of being or way of feeling or way of emoting. Okay. So jealousy, once again, is seeing someone or something of value or of more value than you or of more importance than you. So There's nothing higher or lower than anybody or anything. Everybody and everything has its own purpose and its own path. Let's not say purpose because people take that in physical understanding. Everything and anything and everyone and anyone has their own path. Nobody's better than nobody. Nobody's worse than nobody. Some people are meant to die at 10 years old. Some individuals are meant to die at 50. Some people are supposed to die from a heart attack at 32. Some people die from a stroke at 78. Old age, accident, what we call an accident, or unfortunate circumstances, whatever it may be. Everybody and anything and everything and anybody has their own path. And you respect it. So if everything and anything is in the class of itself or in the state by itself or a plane of existence on its own, how can you compare with anybody or anything? If everything and anything has its own thing, including you, what is to compare? Doesn't make any sense. They're great and they're horrible in their own path or whatever they're doing. You're great and you're horrible, whatever you're doing. There's no saying, I'm better than you. This is better for you. It's better for you. Trust me. No. Everybody and everything is doing their own thing. This is the whole path, the whole understanding of the path once again, which is one of the videos I have put out. It's called The Path. What is the path? And it's a little short synopsis and explains certain things, but this also derives from that. This episode that we're touching upon now, this video. But it's talking about jealousy, but it also relates as well with what I'm talking about. It kind of fell into that slot, into that groove, which also fell into what is the path. And, there's no need to be jealous of someone being more important than you or more valued than you. That just means that you don't see yourself as something important, or you lack something within yourself that you're not appreciating or embracing about yourself and within yourself, to be as self, the self that you truly are, the self that you've always been, the self that you can only be. So don't ignore that spiritual aspect within you. Don't ignore your path. Your path is very important. Very important. And it's very relevant. I'm not saying important. It's very relevant to the growth and development of your being, which is your spirit, to imbue your spirit, to radiate your spirit, to illuminate self. Okay? Okay. So interact with that which is outside to activate that which is actually inside. Okay? That's the whole point of interacting with outside and things, is to open up something within your thing, you. Okay? The next line in our doorway is jealousy. It is a challenge of sanity, a self-challenge to dig deeper into self. A challenge makes you, or should make you, become more aware. You pierce through the membranes of ignorance, journeying through the inner layers of your subconscious creations. So, to be jealous is not a bad thing, even if you are feeling jealous or may be jealous of someone or something. This is something that is nothing but a challenge of your own sanity. It's something that is challenging your own sanity. You are challenging your sanity. It popped up and derived and came to surface to challenge your sanity. Are you sane? Can you return back to your sanity? Or will you just go insane? That's why I say it's a self-challenge to dig deeper into self. A challenge makes you become more aware, should make you become more aware. And jealousy is nothing but another layer like envy or hate or lust or whatever it may be. These are just different inner layerings or inner membranes that you pierce through with your awareness. You can pierce through these inner ignorant, subconscious, programmed membranes with your awareness. Your awareness is the arrow that can pierce through the veil and the curtain and the membrane of your ignorance, of your subconscious training or your subconscious programming. So this is the whole point of the whole realization of what's supposed to come to surface to the conscious mind, to the awareness when these things are occurring. There's nothing wrong or right about feeling jealous. It's just a feeling that the human body goes through and the human brain goes through and the human experience is about. But when it pops up, where is your awareness at? Because that's what's going to determine the true depth and degree of your sanity and clarity and centeredness and balance of self when that moment arises, when you feel that happening to you, okay? When you're about to go through that experience. Okay, the next line in Odori is, it is to separate you from yourself. Jealousy is a thing that was created through the mind, experiences, bringing experiences of human nature, humanity, to separate you from yourself, to release from the mind and drop into the brain, to become entrapped in thought rather than to remain in thinking mode. So to become entrapped within the slides of thought rather than remaining the turning carousel barrel of slides. Of course, you see what happens. You become jealous. You separate from yourself. You become insane. You begin to potentially become insane. And you become imbalanced. Get mad. Become sick. Ailments. All things start happening from something that was just a thought, something you can't touch and grab and grasp, to something that is now having operation on, and somebody's having surgery on their body or their brain because they didn't let go of these pathologies or these insecurities and idiosyncrasies within them. So it came from something which was nothing into something which became actually something. And now you're on the operating table and getting surgery and a whole bunch of shit happening to your body and your brain because you didn't let go of these stagnant thoughts that became a stagnant energy in your body, a blockage, which became an illness or an imbalance or sickness. You psych yourself out. Once again, I touched upon that before in one of the videos as well. What is sickness? And to be sick is to be psyched. You psyched yourself out of the moment and became a prisoner of the past, okay? Of your past thoughts. So it separates you from yourself, to release from the mind and drop in the brain. You release from the mind, which is a thinking apparatus, and drop in the brain, which is a pool of thoughts and thought. And thought and thoughts is of the past. Thinking is of the present. So thought and thinking are two totally different things. Okay? I always mention that a lot. So, and I just made an example of a projector. I said, to become entrapped in thought rather than to remain in thinking mode. So it's, in other words, it's to become entrapped within the slides of thought rather than remaining the turning carousel barrel of slides. And you know that little turning thing, as it turns, the projector is shooting a light on the screen. But as the projector shoots the light onto the screen that we're watching in class or whatever we're doing, this little barrel is just turning the slides. It's going from slide to slide to slide, and it's shooting out through the lens of the projector onto the screen. So you want to remain the barrel that's turning the slots of the slides rather than the picture that's on the screen. Because the picture that's on the screen is of thought. Okay? And what you want to do is keep that in mind when you're doing certain things of that nature. Okay? The next line in our doorway is to be jealous is a redirection of attention from being or remaining attentive to giving attention to. So it's from being to doing. To exit being and enter into doing. Being is just spirit, doing is just human. So you have exited the spiritual experience or exited the spiritual existence of your true nature and became entrapped within the doing of the human nature. So you went from being into doing. You went from spirit into human, and you became entrapped inside of this physical skin envelope. Okay? Nothing wrong or right to it. This is what we came here to do. But how aware are you when this happens? Or when this happens? How aware are you when these things happen? Because that's what's going to keep your sense of core balance, okay? The next line, maybe the last line of the is, it begins, or it becomes a fight of control within self and a battle of control with another. You understand what true control is. True control is no control. Let go and let grow. Let be and let see. So jealousy also is another way of being jealous of your wife or your husband, a significant other, or call it. Is trying to control them in a certain way. You're trying to control them. It's a game of control. And once you become humble, understand what control is or what true control is. True control is no control and having no control and not being in control and letting that which is controlling control the controlled. I know I say control a lot just now, but let go and let grow. Let be and let see. Let this thing see while you just being. It's seeing while you're being. As you're being, it is seeing. As you're going, something is growing. This is the whole understanding, which is why you have to be. Understand what being is and what to be is. Okay? Like I said, this is just, it's like a psychological state. When I was saying before, of seeing someone as of value or more importance than you, or more, more higher than you, more greater than you, if you want to put it that way. That's just a psychological state of inferiority or feeling inferior to someone and or something, which is once again something which derives from the subconscious mind, which is something in your childhood which you once again have to go into your subconscious mind to address and confront and neutralize. Okay, so feeling inferior or inferiority or to someone and or something is nothing but a certain kind of psychological state, something with the mind, psychosis of the mind, the mentality of what you are, and what created this mentality or this program that you are running on in the present moment, in present day. I have to address the past, something within you. Maybe your sister or your brother got the best toy or toy that you wanted, but your brother got it, and you feel that mommy likes him better than you, or mommy likes her better than you because she gets treated better than you, or he gets treated better than you. Or in school, somebody got the better cookies and the milk, and you got the bad cookies, or you got one cookie and they got 3 cookies, and now you feel like you're not as important as him or as her because they got more than you. I'm saying all this to say is that it's not about the person in front of you. It's something that you need to address within you, whether it be jealousy or whatever it may be. Hatred, it's not the person. The person is just what we learned in occult wisdom and metaphysics. They're just a catalyst. There's something like your verbal and physical punching bag, which is why people hit us. So if you don't have any control or discipline of your ignorance or of your lower nature, it'll act out in many ways. If you're not opening or activating something of your higher nature to remain balanced and controlled and disciplined within yourself and amongst others. Okay? It's never about the person, it's always about the principle. It's never about the personal, it's always about the principle. Personalities, personal personalities don't exist. They're created within a physical and human experience. Don't set your attention on that so much and zoom into a person or zoom into a personality, because you're going to eventually take it personal. When you take it personal, you lose sight and lose focus of what is principle. Okay? The brain and the body came here to have a whole feeling experience. You remain in your spiritual experience and stay there. Am I as I am, as you are? Just want to touch upon it one more time. This is jealousy, part 2 version of what is jealousy. And I'll see you guys next time. And until then, keep your vision. 1, 0.